What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Sit Down Saturday, and today we are going to be having an interview with Chogoking himself. He is a third-party box artist, so to speak, but yet he is so much more, and we're going to get into that, including some very special announcements that will be made during the interview at some point. No spoilers, but if you are a third-party masterpiece collector, you have good reason to be excited. We're going to sort of do a quick biography, cover how he got into drawing, how that kind of evolved into graffiti work, and between all of those elements in art school, it kind of shaped him, and then the projects and stuff that he's worked on in third party, and some pretty exciting stuff that's lined up for the future. This is like a 17-minute interview that is cut from like an hour-and-a-half conversation. If you're interested in that hour-and-a-half conversation, it's on Patreon, where we get into a lot of the nitty-gritty, both in his fandom, being a fan of Transformers and sort of robots and mech in general, the family tradition that kind of comes from, as well as all more nitty-gritty details on every topic spoken about in this conversation. So that's at the $10 level over on Patreon if you're interested. But that being said, exciting news. There's absolutely no housekeeping required today. Nothing was really misunderstood for once. Unless Dummies was, because I've done this. I'm doing this on Wednesday and Dummies drops on Friday, so there's still time. Anyway, let's get into it.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about your art, okay? First of all, let me just say this, and I'm not saying it just to say it. I think my track record speaks for itself, that I usually speak my mind. I am a huge fan of your work. Your third-party box artwork is my favorite. I think it's unparalleled. That's not to trash anybody else's stuff. I celebrate anybody doing it, but I think there's something about yours that captures some life to it somehow that I am a massive fan of. It doesn't seem as though it's a drawing of a toy. It seems as though it's a drawing of a character. So I just want to tell you that I appreciate what you do, first and foremost.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So secondly, I want to kind of get into your story. So have you always been drawing, like since before you can remember, or when did you start drawing? As a kid, I imagine?
Yeah, but my parents were in art school, and they were all both a graphic designer working in different departments. So I was always surrounded by art stuff. Okay, as a kid, I'm drawing frogs, crocodile, and stuff like that. Then digging your favorite stuff, like Japanese, also comics. So you start to copy, to learn, and stuff like that.
So as a young person, you're kind of like, you're interested in the stuff. You are living in an artistic home. You have these kind of visuals that you're using as guides to sort of replicate. And as you replicate them, you're kind of learning your craft. Exactly. Basically.
Exactly. You learn about the inking process. You learn about the ethics, everything. And it was it's a fuel of life.
Yeah. And what were you drawing? Mostly as a kid?
It was a mix of a lot of stuff. I was drawing robots, but I also drew characters, creatures, monsters. I tried to mix a lot of stuff.
So as you became a teenager, right, that you started working with graffiti art?
Yeah, totally. You know, it's a time when you are a teenager, you need to have some recognition, you need to define yourself. So I know what I like, I know what style I can bring, so it was settled. So I mixed the manga and the comics and stuff like that, especially manga, because manga was in France before America, and we had a lot of reference. We have a lot of different manga, so we can learn the ink, the gouache style, and so my father got a lot of comics and stuff, and vintage. So I was surrounded with the good material and good source to be focused on drawing and illustration. And of course, the toys. I spend a lot of time in a toy shop, not for buy, but to look the box, especially also the model kit, the Japanese model kits with all the paint cover. So I learned about a lot of with that materials. It was not easy because drawing is a struggle to me, with a lot of pleasure, but it reminds you have always to focus, to train, and it's your own yoga, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, because I would imagine that, like, okay, so you doodle, you kind of learn some basics as a kid. As you grow up, you go into kind of teenage years, you start doing graffiti. I would imagine that teaches you a ton about color, about structure, about the composition of a piece. So how do you go from that kind of into adulthood and into like your first paying gig?
I was doing some decorative work, and aside, I entered an art school. I had a lot of course with typographics and composition, and so I boost my knowledge and
Skill set, I would imagine.
Yeah, the skills, but it was an era I was very productive. I was productive in school, I was productive at home, I was productive outside. So it built a strong base for my own style, and also my ability to speak about my heart and to ask for jobs and stuff like that. So I was connected quickly with the music labels. I had two type of jobs. I worked for the music industry for labels as an artist for cover, for music, and also for posters, for music festival and stuff like that. And aside, I worked into fashion. I started working during 7 years into a fashion industry as a silk painter. And aside, I worked for the music. So it was a kind of refreshing era.
So tell me how you got involved with third party.
First, about collecting, but also I had the contact of the high gear guy, the Coneheads. They released.
Yeah. They were kind of like the MP Seeker mode, like retools, like slight retools, mainly KOs, basically. So
the Coneheads were out, and I liked the box. It was a 3-box like that, but it was kind of planet painting.
Yes.
So I was enjoying that, but I said, I need something. I have to propose something. So I didn't paint the Coneheads, but I noticed there is something to do with that. So I contacted the guy and said, hey, do you want me to do some artwork for you? And he said, oh, I have the Seekers coming. You can propose something. And I show him some style, and the guy say, okay, let's go, for a cheap price, of course. So I designed this 3-box. That was my first involvement into a third party. The one I dive very far in it was Mastermind Creation.
Correct, which is what you're probably most known for.
Yep, totally.
So how did that happen? Walk us through that.
I remember I bought the Heart of Steel Cyclops, and I broke the waist part because it was a thin part, and at that time the plastic was a bit fragile. So I had the mail contact to Mastermind Creation for the after-sale department, asking, oh, I broke the piece, can I buy you a part?
Yeah.
He said, no, it's okay. It's okay. I can sell you sell one for free. And the guy was very kind. And I said, oh. And so I responded him with about my what was my work. And he was kind of impressed, I guess. I asked him, do you have some box to be made? So he gave me 2 jobs. To work on the Hexatron and also on the Grandus. It was kind of a ping pong of ideas, and also about the packaging materials. So that's how we started work together. And aside, he showed me the prototype of Sphinx, and he said to me, okay, I'm about to release a kind of MP line following the OX Studio style. So I was, wow, Mirage was my first G1 toy. He said, hey, so it's a good opportunity to loop your emotions.
Right, meant to be.
Yeah, so I'll start creating according to his will, to work on the logos and the way we're gonna spread the heart, the spirit of the line, and
like the branding of it, really. How you recognize the brand visually.
So I try to give in the line the what we liked,
right?
Because of the souvenir, because of the different past. So it's a mix of homage in creation. Homage, you can see clearly on the Perfection series box. You have the stripes behind, and the stripes they were from Joustra, a French company who bring the G1 into Europe and France. So it's a mix of the G1, of the Joustra, of the Diaclone. I try to give a lot of souvenir inside. You have the tech spec, you have the transformation, etc., and also I wanted to bring quality alive. Like you have the die-cast logo with a foil print,
right,
etc. And then after we moved to the window boxes. And for me, doing the window boxes was like a holy grail for me. To me, it was okay. This is it. It's a box. It's a toy box.
Right. And very nostalgic, right? Like very reminiscent of the original.
So I tried to mix the nostalgia and the reboot.
Along with kind of carving out MMC's own identity.
Yeah,
I agree, and it was also a really a blank slate for you because when you came into reformatted kind of already had its flavor, but the Sphinx was the first one of this, you kind of got to start from scratch to kind of build this brand, help build this brand.
Totally.
You also worked on their remix line, their tapes, and I've been following you on Instagram and seeing your evolution of the Steeljaw piece that is coming along quite nicely, I might add.
Yeah, the remix line it was a second hit for me because the partnership on the Perfection series was very good. I tried to work fast to deliver good files with a good composition, etc. So the Mastermind Creation boss was very confident about my work, and he proposed me the remix line. And for me, it was like, I can die happy because Soundwave was my favorite character.
Right.
Mastermind Creation gave me like a full free move on the art direction for that. So I decided to mix, to not be too much Transformers, but because it was off scale, because the tape were audio tape scale.
Right.
And the idea for me was to bring a kind of nostalgia because of what kids now know about a tape, magnetic tape.
Yeah.
Or they're just hearing full streaming the music. So,
yeah. Don't get me started.
Yeah.
Like
for the remix line, I want to bring that kind of era of graphic style, of the graphic design of the Sony, of the Blaupunkt, of the TDK tape.
Right.
It was a time of advertising, very hi-fi materials.
Yep.
With the quality of the sound, chrome tape. For us as a kid, we didn't know about the particle in the magnetic band. It was just this one is chrome. This one is chrome.
Yeah.
So during the remix line for me was a kind of holy grail because I love the characters, I love the quality of the toy, the engineering is top. The idea having the heart into a inlay you dock inside the tape.
Yep. The packaging of it, like it was brilliant. It all worked hand in hand.
Yeah. So. Everything on that line is like a dessert. Yeah.
I also want to touch on the Infinity line that I know that you were involved in, which you don't have to comment on this. You can even hide your face to hide your expression on what I'm about to say to not give away anything. But from the outside looking in and from watching the field very closely, as I tend to do, my guess would be is that this is probably a large part of the future intentions of this line would be this next branding.
What I can say is that line is a continuity of the Perfection series, but we will have more free move of creation.
Direction, you would say. Direction.
Is the toy line is like you can imagine any character from the Transformers realm coming into the 80s with Cybertronian modes, Earth mode. But about the Earth mode, it's gonna be inspired from the 80s.
briefly touch on some projects that you've worked on that people may not be aware of.
Recently, I work a French company, animation company. The name is Fortiche, and we started work with Riot Game to introduce a new champion to the game. We work a lot with that company, and they started to have a partnership to create a unique show. And we start to work on the development of the Archon series. And I was in charge to work on the design for the development for the pilot. I'm not a character designer, and background design, I'm good for that, but I leave it to people who are better than me about the skills. So it's a teamwork, and I'll build some good stuff in that project.
You've recently had a pretty big announcement to be part of a pretty big franchise. I don't know how much about it you can talk about here, but it involves flying creatures and wheels.
Yeah, we can talk about that. Starting, it was at the end of 2020. I was contacted by people from the production and the director of the series to work on a new Batman series.
That's amazing, man. Like, to be a part of that to be officially a part of that franchise. Like, what a crazy thing.
Very fun because it's about vehicles in characters, and it's a classic Batman series with all the characters you like. But the specificity of the show is the vehicles came alive.
It's like Cars, but Batman.
It's you can say it's the DC Cars,
right? Right. So I got one more question for you before we get out of here.
Yep.
And you can feel free to say nope. Can't talk about that. But it is, okay, I heard a rumor, I won't divulge my source, but I heard a rumor that you might be involved with another third-party company in some regard that we might find out about in the next year or so.
If the camera is rolling, I can show you a prototype of something you know well.
So the rumors are true.
It's more than rumors. I was contacted by Mike Toys to first more work on the packaging, but just to adapt and relaunch the brand.
Relaunch. That's a good word. That's a word I like to hear.
So with the AMTRAM X line,
right.
X like the continuity, and but you can see the rerun, the Seekers, the Conheads are coming. This is not a joke. The Conheads are coming because it's a relaunch. It takes time, and especially when you have the COVID, when you have the problem in the factories in China, the effective is like 50% running.
Right.
So
any word on Headmasters? Because I know a lot of us are clawing for those last two Autobot Headmasters specifically.
I saw prototype.
Okay.
With an S. I saw prototypes.
Ooh, I love to hear it. I love to hear it.
I'm in charge to work on new models as a designer.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So in the future, I will try to work more in toy industry, a bit in the cartoon, but it's eating a lot of time, and if I have to choose, I prefer working into the toys industry. So yeah, about the Headmaster, we're gonna push it far, and I will try to bring new characters and see how it goes.
Awesome. I love to hear it.
For me, having that company down was too bad. It was too. I was really sad having Mike Toys down. So for me, it's more than a good news. It's like, woo!
Yeah, celebration.
Let's go.
Yeah, for sure. Just to wrap things up, maybe in the future after a release comes out, we can have you come back on and talk about the process of the entire product,
Totally.
I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your contributions to all of this that most of us love and kind of follow very closely. At least I think the viewers of my channel, and I want you to have your flowers while you can smell them, as they say. So I want you to know that your work has been appreciated, and please continue to do so.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and I hope we can meet
Yeah.
again.
So pretty exciting, right? I know I'm excited. I hope that it comes to fruition. I am pulling for all parties involved. I want to take another moment and just thank him once again. He was very gracious with his time. He's willing to come back after some of these projects get released and talk about the sort of ins and outs of all of the sort of production elements. So that's exciting as well. And with that, I'll be back Monday. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care. Next week, there will be a pre-order announcement, so don't sleep on it.